The Las Vegas Raiders find themselves at a pivotal moment before the regular season even kicks off. After a rocky showing in their first preseason matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, the urgency to identify and address weaknesses is impossible to ignore. While the front office and coaching staff might be preaching patience, the reality is that certain position groups simply don't look ready for the grind of a full NFL schedule. With the roster still flexible and a decent amount of salary cap space available, this is the perfect time to scour the free agent market for reinforcements who could make an immediate impact. The first area that jumps out is a cornerback, but not just any cornerback role. The real concern is inside at the nickel position. The Raiders like what they have in Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, and Cameron Richardson on the outside. And rookie standouts like Q Blue Kelly and Greedy Vance have flash potential both in camp and in limited preseason action. However, Darnay Holmes remains inconsistent, and the decision to move on from Jacorian Bennett means depth in the slot is thinner than ever. While it's tempting to imagine adding a big name like Stephon Gilmore and plugging him directly into that spot, the smarter approach might be to bring in a hybrid defensive back who can play multiple roles. Gilmore is no longer in his prime, but his track record, nearly 50 straight starts over the past 3 years, a Defensive Player of the Year award in 2019, and the championship pedigree from his New England days speaks for itself. In the right scheme, he could be used similarly to veterans like Charles Woodson or Patrick Peterson later in their careers, shifting between corner and safety to maximize his football IQ, even if his top speed isn't quite what it used to be. This would give the Raiders flexibility in the secondary, a veteran presence in the locker room, and a safety net if the young corners stumble once the games count for real. Another glaring need lies on the offensive line, particularly at guard. The starting interior was already a question mark coming into camp, and the preseason opener made it clear that the depth behind him is shaky at best. Jackson Powers Johnson, the talented rookie, is dealing with a rib injury, and for reasons that are difficult to understand still hasn't been locked in as the unquestioned starter. Behind him, the drop-off is steep. Caleb Rogers struggled badly against Seattle, and while Antonio Mafi got some first-team snaps, relying on him in a significant role is a gamble. Injuries to players like Alex Kappa only compound the issue, and given Kappa's recent history of missing time, banking on his health is risky. That's why a veteran like Dalton Reisner makes so much sense. Reisner has started more than 80 games in his career, can play both left and right guard, and has a built-in connection with Raiders assistant GM Brian Stark from their days in Denver. He's healthy, affordable, and capable of stabilizing the interior while giving the young linemen more time to develop rather than forcing them into action before they're ready. With the run game being such an important part of this offense, protecting rookie running back Ashton Jeanty and giving him clean lanes is non-negotiable, and right now that requires better guard play. On defense, the edge rusher rotation also needs attention. Max Crosby remains the heartbeat of the unit, but beyond him, the consistency isn't there. Malcolm Koonce looked ordinary in the preseason debut. And while Tyree Wilson showed flashes, he's still a developmental player who works best when he can be moved around the formation. Depth pieces like Charles Snowden have been disappointing, and there's even a risk of losing him to suspension. That's why a proven veteran like Jadeveon Clowney should be at the top of the call list. Clowney is not the dominant number one pick he was projected to be coming out of college, but he remains a versatile and disruptive force who can play on the edge, kick inside on passing downs, and handle multiple assignments within a game. The past 2 seasons, he's registered 15 sacks, and his best PFF grade as a pro came under Pete Carroll back in 2019. His ability to shift between roles could allow the Raiders to rotate their front more creatively, help protect younger players from being overexposed, and give the pass rush an extra dimension without sacrificing run defense. Another trouble spot is at free safety, a position that plays an even bigger role in a blitz-heavy defense like the one Pete Carroll often prefers. The Raiders recently signed Terrell Edmonds, and while he adds depth, he's not a guaranteed long-term answer. Injuries to players like Lonnie Johnson Jr. have left the back end thin, and young prospects like Jeremy Chin and Isaiah Polamau are still learning on the job. That's why someone like Justin Simmons makes so much sense. Simmons is a model of consistency, with at least 2 interceptions in every season of his career, and his familiarity with defensive backs coach Joe Woods and assistant GM Brian Stark from their Denver days would make the transition seamless. Adding him would give the Raiders a true center field safety who can cover sideline to sideline, disguise looks pre-snap, and help compensate for any shortcomings in the pass rush by forcing quarterbacks to hold the ball longer. Still, the biggest and most urgent need is right in the middle of the defensive line. Defensive tackle was supposed to be a strength, anchored by Christian Wilkins and supported by a rotation of young physical players. Instead, the group has looked vulnerable. Injuries, underperformance, and lack of proven depth have left the Raiders relying on undrafted rookies like Thomas Booker to take first-team reps. Adam Butler has been absent due to personal matters, John Jenkins has been pedestrian, and the remaining options simply aren't starter caliber at this stage. This is why a reunion with veteran Quinton Jefferson could be the quickest fix. Jefferson knows the system, has history with both the coaching staff and Crosby, and while he's not a long-term solution, he could solidify the rotation and keep the younger tackles from being overwhelmed. Other options like Linval Joseph or William Golston could also help, particularly in early down situations where stopping the run is critical. The preseason is the perfect time to make these kinds of moves. Waiting until the regular season to address these needs risks starting the year on the back foot. And history shows that teams that tinker early tend to fare better over the long haul. The Raiders have a competitive roster, but they also have weaknesses that opponents will target relentlessly unless action is taken now. Whether it's fortifying the secondary with a versatile veteran, shoring up the offensive line with a proven starter, adding a flexible pass rusher, or plugging the gaping hole at defensive tackle, the front office has to recognize that this is a team with legitimate potential, but only if the right reinforcements arrive before the games start to matter. If the Raiders are serious about contending this year, the window to act is now, because in the NFL, momentum and confidence can shift overnight. The Seahawks preseason game wasn't just a meaningless August contest, it was a magnifying glass that revealed cracks in the roster structure. You can brush off one bad performance, but when certain patterns match what's been whispered in camp reports all summer, you know it's more than just rust. That's why each positional concern we've touched on needs not just one solution, but a layered approach. Depth matters as much as star power, and the Raiders can't afford to treat these as maybe situations when September is right around the corner. On defense, it starts with the front, and the Raiders have built their identity around Max Crosby's relentless motor and the idea that with Christian Wilkins commanding double teams inside, everything else would fall into place. But defensive lines aren't a two-man show. They need a full rotation of reliable contributors. Right now, that rotation feels more like a patchwork quilt, with names shifting in and out based on who's healthy and who's not. You can already see how offenses might attack this group. Pound the ball inside early, force the tackles to hold their ground, then exploit the edges if the linebackers get caught in traffic. This is why adding a disruptive presence like Jadeveon Clowney doesn't just solve an edge problem, it strengthens the middle indirectly. If you can move Clowney inside on passing downs or in heavier fronts, it frees up Crosby and keeps blockers guessing. That unpredictability is what allows the defense to steal possessions in a league where scoring margins are razor thin. While the trenches set the tone physically, the secondary determines whether you can close out games. The Raiders' current mix of young corners and developmental safeties is exciting from a long-term perspective, but this is still a win-now league. A single busted coverage can swing a game, and in the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and a much improved Russell Wilson, you cannot give quarterbacks second chances. That's where the allure of a Justin Simmons type addition grows even stronger. He's not just a safety, he's a stabilizer. He understands root concepts, disguises intentions pre-snap, and communicates effectively with the rest of the secondary. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning turn of events that has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, rumors are swirling that Lamar Jackson, the dynamic quarterback known for his electrifying play style and MVP credentials, is on the verge of leaving the Baltimore Ravens to join the Las Vegas Raiders. This potential blockbuster move is generating intense speculation as fans and analysts alike try to piece together the implications of such a shift in the league's landscape. The idea of Jackson donning the Raiders' silver and black jersey is electrifying, conjuring images of an offense revitalized by his unique blend of speed, agility, and arm talent. While the Ravens have built much of their recent success around Jackson's dual threat capabilities, whispers from sources close to the situation suggest that negotiations have heated up behind the scenes. Whether this is a strategic shakeup initiated by the Raiders front office aiming to boost their quarterback situation or a sign of changing dynamics within the Ravens organization, the mere possibility of Jackson's relocation is enough to captivate the football world. Fans are already debating how this move could transform both franchises, and the rumor mill continues to churn as details remain scarce but tantalizing. The potential departure of Lamar Jackson from Baltimore opens a Pandora's box of questions about the future of both teams involved, fueling a wildfire of speculation that seems impossible to quell. The Ravens, long known for their commitment to Jackson's talent, could be preparing to pivot toward a new offensive direction if these rumors prove accurate. This raises intriguing scenarios about who might step up as the Ravens' next quarterback, and how the team's identity could evolve without their star playmaker. Meanwhile, the Raiders appear poised to take a bold gamble by potentially investing in Jackson, whose style of play could inject an unprecedented level of excitement and versatility into their offense. The implications for the FC West division are profound, as a fully healthy and motivated Lamar Jackson in Las Vegas might drastically alter the competitive balance. Sources close to the Raiders hint that this rumored acquisition could be part of a larger strategy to rebuild and contend in the coming seasons, signaling a readiness to shake up the status quo. Amidst this swirling speculation, the NFL world watches eagerly, waiting for confirmation or denial that could reshape the sport's narrative. Should Lamar Jackson officially switch from the Ravens to the Raiders, the ripple effects would extend beyond just these two teams, influencing the broader NFL ecosystem in unexpected ways. The quarterback market, always a topic of intense discussion, would suddenly gain a new focal point as Jackson's availability or commitment would impact trade talks, free agency decisions, and draft strategies league-wide. Other franchises monitoring the quarterback carousel might reconsider their plans, potentially accelerating moves or reshaping their rosters to adapt to this seismic shift. Jackson's rumored move also underscores the evolving nature of the NFL's business side, where player empowerment and strategic front office decisions intertwine to create dramatic outcomes. For fans of the Raiders, the prospect of Lamar Jackson leading their offense is tantalizing, promising thrilling highlights and renewed hope for playoff contention. Conversely, Ravens supporters face the unsettling possibility of bidding farewell to a franchise cornerstone, prompting reflection on the team's future identity. In this charged atmosphere of uncertainty and excitement, every insider hint and speculative report adds fuel to the ever-growing fire of anticipation. Meanwhile, the tactical implications of Lamar Jackson joining the Raiders are a topic of fervent discussion among coaches, analysts, and fans who speculate about how his skill set would mesh with the team's current roster and coaching philosophy. Jackson's ability to extend plays with his legs and create opportunities out of chaos could complement the Raiders' offensive weapons in unpredictable and game-changing ways. Questions arise about how the Raiders' coaching staff might tailor their playbook to maximize Jackson's talents, potentially introducing more red option plays, rollouts, and improvisational opportunities. Additionally, the defensive challenges opponents face when Jackson commands the field cannot be overstated. His presence could force rival defenses to rethink their schemes against Las Vegas. From a leadership standpoint, Jackson's energy and charisma might influence the locker room culture, fostering a new dynamic that could either elevate or challenge team cohesion. These strategic considerations add layers to the rumor, As experts debate whether the Raiders are prepared to fully embrace a Lamar Jackson-led offense and what adjustments will be necessary to optimize their championship aspirations. As the rumor mill churns and social media explodes with speculation about Lamar Jackson's possible move to the Raiders, the NFL landscape stands on the cusp of a potentially historic realignment. Both franchises face pivotal decisions that could define their trajectories for years to come, with the Raiders seemingly ready to make a statement of intent by pursuing a player of Jackson's caliber. The media frenzy surrounding this story highlights the passionate fan bases invested in every development, with rumors spreading rapidly and creating an atmosphere of palpable excitement and tension. While no official confirmation has yet emerged, insiders suggest that talks are ongoing and that a deal could materialize if both parties reach agreeable terms. The next few weeks promise to be crucial as contract details, medical evaluations, and strategic negotiations all play a role in determining the outcome. For now, the idea of Lamar Jackson taking his talents to Las Vegas remains a thrilling possibility, one that could rewrite the narrative of the NFL's upcoming seasons and ignite new hopes and rivalries across the league. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.